Yeah, but I was like, I don't know about you, man, but I'm pumped up today, man. Like I'm ready
Yeah,
for these Scousers, man. I'm ready.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
ready.
It,
Calm,
you know,
you
the
Scousers.
energy,
Calm.
energy feels different.
It feels
As
different, bro.
opposed to like when we were playing City, you
Yeah.
know, the energy is always gonna be different. Like they're both gonna be big matches, but the energy is always gonna be different. You
Yeah.
know, with City, obviously the biggest thing. You know, we're playing for pride for Manchester, but with Liverpool, like I said the
It's
last time, we're playing for like
for
you know, like
everything.
playing for everything. You know,
For
so
everything, bro.
how bad we are, man. Every time we go into Liverpool game, I'm just always stoked. I'm just always like, yeah, let's go get it. Especially like games like this, not like not one-offs like Premier League or whatever. But when it comes to like cup competitions, like meeting them in the FA Cup, it's like, yeah, let's get it. You know, it's
And,
quarterfinal.
and
Yeah,
here's the one big thing that I'm taking from this. You know, like every time we play Man City, my
yeah,
biggest concern is City having the ball. Like that
yeah,
is
yeah,
always the thing that always gets me. Like I know that we're gonna struggle to get the ball. I know we're going to,
yeah,
and when we do get the ball, we're not going to keep it as much as they do.
yeah,
When we play Liverpool, Liverpool are not like City. They don't keep the ball as much as City. They play
yeah.
at you. They come at you.
Exactly. We play football. Yeah,
Yes, and that plays into our strengths.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It always plays into
yeah,
our. Any team that decides to just come at us like they've got no sense, those are the kind
yeah,
of games that we like. Like we
yeah,
like to disrupt that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
bro, I'm looking at the matchups. I'm looking at, you know, I mean, I remember in the last episode, the catch-up episode, you were like terrified about Diaz. And I'm like, I
yeah,
don't think he's going to repeat the same thing that he did. And
yeah,
I don't know, I'm hearing Onana. I mean, no, not Onana. Wan-Bissaka, Mason
yeah,
Mount, na na na, na na na.
yeah.
Anyway, my guy, welcome everybody to the Ketchup Show. It's your boy Dom Benito and Pastor D. What's good, my guy?
Yeah, man. Derby day, Derby day.
Derby Day! Come on!
I'm
Come
so happy,
on!
so happy.
Huh?
And you know I'm working today, but I'm just so happy that the match is starting before work. Like I'm actually gonna catch it before I get to work. So like,
Bruh,
thank
you
you,
need to catch a glimpse
you
of
know.
what it's going to be.
Yeah,
Bruh, Salah versus Delo or Wan-Bissaka.
yeah,
Luis Diaz versus Delo Wan-Bissaka.
yeah,
Darwin
man.
Nunes versus Varane and I don't know, Maguire or
Yeah,
Evans. That
yeah,
midfield.
yeah,
Szoboszlai versus Casemiro, Bruno, Maino,
yeah,
Szoboszlai,
man.
McAllister or Elliott or I don't know. And then their defense, man, I am pumped.
It's,
I am not
it's the
scared of
stage.
this Liverpool squad, bro.
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah, yeah,
They can miss me with that. I'm not. Like
yeah,
this is the one time I am like,
yeah,
no, fuck you, Liverpool. Screw you,
yeah,
you guys. You're not getting any. And I know in the back of your mind, they keep thinking like, nah, this is United. We've been dominant all
yeah.
this year. Like we've been this
Weirdly
game.
enough, for this fixture, I don't have it in mind. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's FA Cup quarterfinal, you know, and I'm just being very naive, ignorant. I don't know. But like I said, man, because it's a cup game, something
Bruh,
is just giving me a whole new burst of energy. And if I'm feeling it, the players have to be feeling it.
they
There's
have
no way me as a feeling it and the players are not. Like
uh,
quarterfinal FA Cup, come on now. Come
bro.
on now.
I will blow my top if I see somebody not running.
Yeah,
If I see somebody not tracking back. If I see
yeah,
somebody like giving the ball away continuously and not even trying to win it back, I am going to lose my mind and I'm going to rip into them. Because bro, this is a once-off game. FA
yeah,
Cup. There are no reruns. FA Cup is knockout. You lose,
yeah,
you are out. You
yeah,
need to put everything on this game. I want to see blood. I want to see sweat. I want to see tears. I am not
yeah,
playing.
yeah,
I am not
yeah,
joking. Like other than like that will not cut it. Mediocre
yeah,
performance will not cut it. Everybody needs to be on their A game.
Yeah,
Mo Salah is gonna terrorize people. People need to be on it. Luis
yeah,
Diaz,
yeah,
like you said, I mean, I'm still defiant about that. I know he will terrorize us, but
yeah,
damn him, like he's not getting through. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
want Wan Bissaka, bro. Wan Bissaka, if he's fit, I
yeah,
beg, I
yeah.
beg
Mm,
you to begin.
yeah.
Ah,
Nah, man, not to kill your excitement. We'll definitely
yeah,
get in. We'll get into it afterwards because
yeah,
obviously you
yeah,
want to
yeah,
watch the match. You want to
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
following day,
Ish,
all this stuff. But obviously, catch up. Let's talk about what's been happening this week. So today we got Mason Mount debunked, injury updates, and we want to talk a little bit of some players that we haven't shed some light on. Bruno
yeah.
Fernandes, Andre Onana. Want to talk a bit about these players, but let's get started with our first topic. Um, Mason Mount. So yeah, stories came out. We got a screenshot. Like how I heard about it was we got a screenshot in the Glory Rates group. All right,
Yeah.
and I think the screenshot was captioned something along the lines of Mason Mount. It was a screenshot from I think Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Mason Mount was bought to sell shirts. Right now, man,
It sparked
it
debate.
that it sparked debate, and that's a story that's very very easy to believe. You know that's a rumor that you can put out there because with United being so chaotic and not doing the right things over the years, it's not a very hard rumor to look at and say, you know what, I think there's some validity in that and
Yeah,
it could be true. So when I looked at it, you know, my initial reaction was, I just want to get to it real quick. My initial reaction was 50-50. I was on the fence. I'm like, you know what? This could be true,
yeah,
but at the same time, it could just be a rumor, right? Because
yeah,
I know that United do have a habit of doing these certain things, right? And obviously, that's where we are financially. When you look at the past in terms of players that we bought, probably shouldn't have bought them, you know, looking at the way forward. So the motive was very clear, right? That they just bought the player to sell shirts. Di Maria, Falcao, Zlatan, who else? Ronaldo, the list goes on, right? We always knew that we're never going to have these players for a prolonged period of time. They were never going to be the answer to our bigger overall problems. They're always going to be there to patch up the cracks and to make money off it. That was like, you know, a win-win deal for both the club and the player coming into the club. So I think there's no way some of these players, some of them coming into the club are not aware of that. You know, they're very much aware that I'm not coming here for 5 years. You know, they know what the give and take is with the situation. Mason Mount is different because he's a young player, right? He's not some veteran player, retiring player, whatever. No, he's different. He's young, right? So this claim is very, very, very much, you know, outlandish. But thankfully, I can say we sort of got this situation debunked, right? I don't know if a lot of you guys watched the United Stand, but if you haven't, you can go and check out one of the episodes. I can't remember what it's titled. Probably have the link in the description. But basically, one of the reporters, journalists, whatever you want to call her, from the United Stands, Beth, apparently before we got Mason Mount, she was in a return flight from I can't remember where. She happened to sit next to, I think it was Darren Fletcher at that time, and they had a conversation in general about Manchester United. Mason Mount came up, right? And he basically told Beth that Mason Mount is a player that Eric Ten Hag admires, and that's a player that he wants. All right, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm just making it short. So
yeah,
now we've now come to that conclusion that this was a signing that Eric Ten Hag wanted, because I think for a long time, you know, we're debating whether Mason Mount was an Eric Ten Hag signing or not, right? And that's obviously due to the beginning of the season, how he was utilized. Of course, he got injured, etc., etc. But yeah, this whole rumor has been debunked. So this episode, or in this section, we're not gonna specifically talk about the rumor itself, right? Because I don't think there's really so much to get in about it, right?
yeah,
Whether it's true or false, I don't think it really matters, right?
yeah,
It just goes to show that whenever you want to talk about Manchester United, you can just throw anything at the wall and it will stick.
yeah,
With this episode in particular, I think we want to talk about what exactly is the way forward with Mason Mount, right? And I think that's something a lot of United fans and even ourselves want to know what exactly the situation is with them, because now that we have confirmed for certain that he is an Eric Ten Hag signing and that he does want the player, how exactly is he going to utilize him? How? You know what I mean? How is he going to fit into this system? Because I think we tried it at the beginning of at the beginning of the season, and it didn't necessarily work. All right, and I can't remember which three midfielders he employed. I don't know if it was Bruno, Mount, and I don't know if it was Ericsson or Casimiro. I can't remember. But anyway, obviously now that we've got Kobe in the picture, right?
Yeah.
How is it gonna work out? Because now remember, Kobe is also not like a CDM because we still need a CDM. He's not really like a CDM. You can say he's more preferred as, or he does his best work as an attacking midfielder, as a box to box, but he's not really that player that you want to rely on as your CDM, like Declan Rice, for example. You know, he's a perfect CDM.
Yeah.
So how does he now fit into this system at Man United? So yeah, man, go for it. Give me your thoughts, man. I've spoken. Let me
Oof.
let you, and then I'll jump
It's
into
very
it.
interesting because I was one of those people that was a little bit skeptical about the Mason Mount deal. I didn't understand. I mean, I understood it. First of all, I need to mention that I was excited because I thought it
Hmm.
was a bargain. I thought Chelsea were crazy to let go of Mount. That's the first thing that came into my mind. I actually thought this was a joke. I'm like, wait, what? Mount? Am I missing something? What's happening? And
Yeah,
as Manchester United, they're so used to doing things like that. You mentioned that we've been in situations where we've bought players, where we've tried to understand whether it's because the manager wanted to buy the player or it was the club and stuff like that. And then obviously, you remember even back in the days, there used to be rumors that I don't know if it was Ed Woodward or Avram Glazer, one of them. They wanted to buy certain players because um, he felt like if the opposition team see the guy's name on his list, they will
yeah,
be terrified. Something along those lines. And I was like, what? But then you look
mm,
at the player profile of Mason Mount. Mason
yeah,
Mount is not in any way a player that is defensive. I'm, not, I'm sure you can train him, but in any sort of sense, he's somebody that plays on the top half of the field. And when you look at what we needed at the time when they got Mason Mount, he was not the player that we actually needed. So though that's where the birth of these questions of like, wait, why are we buying Mason Mount? We have Bruno there. What's the deal? Are you buying him for Ericsson? Okay, if you're buying him for Ericsson, why is it like you're not trying to make it work? Because even that time he was still trying to put Mason Mount as the number 10 and Bruno out on the wing. He was taking Bruno out
yeah,
of the pitch. So I
yeah,
was like, what is this? What is this? Because Mason Mount can play as can play as the number 10, can play at the left wing, can play on the right wing. That's
yeah,
when he was at Chelsea. I've seen him play in those three positions. So
yeah,
he can play in those positions, but who do you take out like to put him in there? Which is
yeah,
not going to be difficult because I think Mason Mount is a top player. But I'm trying to understand the idea behind it. Like, what were we trying to do? Were we trying to get in two sort of number 10s inside our pitch? Are we supposed to have like one, like a holding and then one box to box? But Mount is not a box to box. He can, but he's
yeah.
not. So we have
Not.
Kobe Manu, we have Casemiro, we've got Bruno, we've got Mount. It didn't make sense to me. I really didn't understand. And then obviously you get these stories that Klopp was looking into him, and I was like, that is a big deal. Once a top player is looking at a player, then you must think that there must be a reason in there. So yeah, for a very long time, I was just skeptical. I thought that it was one of those things where the club projects, like a club goes there and buys the player, and then everybody else in the club, the employees and what, they have to fall in line. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah,
We bought this player, you go out there and speak highly of him. You go out there and say these nice things. That's what I used to think. I mean, that's what I thought was going on.
yeah,
So yeah, man. But this is good news. This is good
yeah,
news. I am happy to hear that no, this guy was truly Eric Ten Hag's player. Apparently, Eric Ten Hag
Yeah.
is obsessed with the guy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I like when managers get into this sort of crazy thing where they're like, I'm obsessed with this player. I want this player to come and do things. And then when he does the put the player in and then the player actually performs, such a beautiful thing to see. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Mount integrated into this team. I really, really
Yeah.
am. But you asked me a question. You said, Ben, how are we going to integrate Mason Mount into this whole thing? It's crazy. The only way I see that happening is if either Bruno or Casemiro or Meno, one of those guys is going to lose their spot. One of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how else to. There is no other way it can work if you want to get Mason Mount in there. Because for some reason, we don't want to put Mason Mount on the wings, which is understandable because we've got we've got Rashi, we've got Ganacho. So we've got in abundance in the wing. So he's definitely going to be featured more in the midfield.
Yeah.
And who do you want? Bruno of late has not been good. I
Yeah.
can even say it. He's my favorite player. I've not been impressed with his performances. So, to a certain extent, Mason Mount coming back, I'm excited because I want to see Bruno. And I know what I'm about to say is going to shock some people. Maybe it's not even going to shock some people. But I think Bruno needs a little bit of time. He
Mm.
needs to be dropped. He needs to reevaluate, like get that hunger in him again.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've seen when a player has been dropped and he wants to come in
Mm.
and help. Bruno has got
Yeah.
that thing. Drop him,
Yeah.
let him feel that thing of like, fuck, I should be in there trying to help.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fucking do this Hollywood pass. No, 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 I'm gonna get it right. No, 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 I'm gonna do this. Get him into that play. Then when he comes in, he's just firing on all cylinders. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of Manchester United fans can actually agree with me that the games that we've seen Bruno come off the bench, like come from the bench, he has come on
Yeah.
to change the game for us completely to a point where we'll be
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we really, really missed Bruno. Bruno is making us tick. We are now um, pressing up top. Like, we're not allowing this. We're getting some creativity in there. So I think
Yeah.
for some reason, we need that to happen. At the same time, I am terrified to not have Bruno in my team because
Yeah.
despite his bad performances, despite Bruno being in this funk that he is in,
Yeah.
that guy puts in a shift. Whether you don't like what he's doing or not, I feel comfortable with Bruno in there. Bruno is
Yeah.
always sticking right up until the last minute, even if you get like 20 minutes of him just throwing his hands in the air or whatever. But then
Yeah.
top players, like players, they have this thing where it's like they just need a moment. And Bruno
Yeah.
has done that numerous times for us. You look at that
Yeah.
equalizer, that last minute goal by Casemiro, that free kick. Had it been
Yeah.
anybody else, that's not a goal. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you because Bruno saw that thing. He's like, all right, nah, nah, nah. He's calculating. This is not the first time he has done that. He did that against
Yeah.
City. He has that brain. Now,
Mm.
in a team that doesn't have creativity or doesn't have that,
Yeah.
bro, if you take out that creative spark in there, it becomes even
Yeah.
more difficult. You know what I mean?
True.
So I don't know. I really don't know. I would love to
Yeah.
see Mason Mount in there, but I don't know, dog.
Yeah. Man, I
It,
hear you. And just talking on Mason Mount, like you said, at Chelsea, and I think what the world knows him for, the footballing world knows him for, is that he's really good when he's playing in the final third of the pitch. He's a player that you just don't want to see him around the midfield, like almost like how we don't want to see Scott McTominay around the midfield. Like, dude, just become a striker, become a fallback striker. But the same thing with Mount. I don't want to see him in the midfield. I don't want to see him. I want to see him as an attacking a number 10. I don't want to see him as number 8. I don't want to see him as number 6. I don't want him, like even Ericsson,
molding.
some,
Nah.
it just weirdly worked out for Ericsson. But Ericsson as well, you want him playing up front. You want him number 10 attacking. You don't want to see him playing that deep. I don't want to see Mount playing that deep, and like I said, we need a CDM. We can't rely on Casemiro for another season. We're pushing our luck. We're honestly pushing our luck. So we do need a CDM. And then, like you said, once we get a CDM, I think that automatically replaces, or let me not say replaces, but takes Casemiro out of the pecking order, right? So now it's down to two more spots. And this is according to Eric Ten Hag, how he wants to play in his formation. Now looking at who starts, who gets dropped, right? So we're saying that let's just put it out there. Bruno won't get dropped. All right. So it's definitely going to be Bruno and CDM. Now it leaves one space open for Kobe or Mason. For me, I don't have a problem with it.
Mm.
For me, it is we have to employ the strategy that has always been employed in Manchester United, that's even being employed with Pep Guardiola. Right? You need to show me that this is your position. And that's the only way these players are gonna step the fuck up. And if it ends up being a case where we're putting Mason Mount ahead of Garnacho, so be it. If we're putting Mason Mount ahead of Rashford, so be it. Ahead of Anthony, whatever. I don't care, you know. And
Mm.
it's funny because I never thought about it in this way. When you said that, put Bruno on the bench and let him get that hunger to come back onto the pitch, and then when he gets back, he makes sure that he nips all those little mistakes in the bud, so that he doesn't see himself on the bench. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, you're right. You know, these players need to get benched. I mean, look at Jack Grealish. Look at Phil Foden. Look at Doku. Look at Bernardo Silva. Those guys don't start on default. Those guys start according to how well they are doing, you know? So if these guys are not going to be playing well, they're not going to be starting. Finish and clap, you know? So play well, you will start. You'll see Jack Grealish starting. You'll be having a good game. As soon as he starts dipping in form, boom, Doku's in. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Now Jack
Mm.
Grealish is hungry on the bench.
Mm.
Fuck, I need to get my
Mm.
shit together so I can get back
Yeah.
and tip and check. So yeah, man. I think at United it needs to be like that. Players need to for their fucking position. And I
Yeah.
think that's why a lot
Like,
of United players were very upset when Marcus Rashford was continuously being played, even though he was massively out of form. And we had
mm.
other players that were in his place. Anthony, Pelestri was waiting on the sideline, getting ready to start. He wasn't being played. Now I'm hearing stories about Pelestri not wanting to return to Manchester United.
Bro,
So
that's
yeah, man. With Mason Mount, it just has to be that thing of um we shouldn't worry about who is going to get dropped. It should be
mm.
that thing of these players need to make sure. One last example, it brings me back to that time when Alex Telles was brought into Manchester United to be our new left back. And then you saw all of a sudden,
Roberto
here,
Carlos.
Roberto Carlos. You
Roberto
know what I
Carlos
mean?
was gone.
Hey, man. You see what I'm saying? Imagine if it wasn't for that, Ben, who knows? Luke Shaw probably would have never been the player that he is today. But
Bro.
just because of that threat, because of that thing of my position is at risk, I can't,
And we need
risk
to
it.
give him praise for that
And
because
we need to give him and we
he
need to give him
accepted the
praise for that.
challenge, you know? He's like,
Exactly,
oh, you
exactly.
want a new left back? Cool.
Yeah,
We'll see
and he
who's
and he
better.
took it on.
Yeah, we'll see
Exactly.
who's better. Then he
Yeah.
just boom. And Tellez never saw light in day.
Exactly. And that was the end of it. But yeah, as I was saying, I don't mind Mason Mount, being a threat to people's positions, but it must be a threat in the right positions. It shouldn't be um to positions where he shouldn't be playing in. So it should be a threat to Bruno, it should be a threat to Kobe, because I want to see Kobe playing more up front. It should be a threat to Garnacho,
Yeah,
Rashford,
yeah,
Diallo, let's all our wingers, fuck it, even fucking maybe I'm going a bit too far, but obviously when we don't have Rasmus, have Mount playing as a false nine. I don't give a fuck. You get what I'm saying? But everybody needs to be on their toes, and the more of these players return, we just need to employ that. So I just hope that look, I don't know sorry, I'm gonna speak a little bit about Pelestri. You know, I don't know what Pelestri is doing in training. I don't know what Pelestri is doing wrong. So I don't know who to really throw blame at or whatever. But Pelestri is one player that every time he comes on that pitch, he plays. He shows why he needs to fucking start. You understand? So it's honestly beyond me why he fell so down the pecking order and has not been really considered by Eric Ten Hag. I don't know what he's doing that is taking that is not interesting Ten Hag, but Yeah, man. I'd rather prefer Pelestri over Anthony any day, and
That's
I just really hope that we don't lose him because he's a player, man.
he's
He's
a
a player,
player.
and he may not be a starter, but he's definitely a player that you can easily say I'm happy for him to come off the bench because I know he's gonna come and cause problems,
Bro,
but he needs that game
he
time.
has that low center of gravity thing going on. It's very difficult,
Yeah.
technically gifted on the ball, not very easy to take the
Yep.
ball away from him. No, honestly, the Pelestri situation, I blame Ten Hag. There is no other
Yeah.
way. There is no other way
Yeah.
to who to blame. No, it's Ten Hag.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't
Yeah.
prefer Pelestri. He prefers somebody else. Like
Yeah.
Pelestri came from Uruguay. We bought him cheap. We put him in the academy. He had to start off in the academy,
Mm,
just like
mm,
Ahmad as well. They played there
yeah.
for how long? And this is a
Exactly.
player that we bought to play for
That way.
Manchester United, you know. And
Yeah.
Pelestri, he man, he's worked hard. Like it's not easy for a child to leave his home, South America, come to England. You know, you're there in academy, just living there doing. It's not easy, but he did it, and
Yeah.
he's not given the game time.
Yeah.
It really sucks. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, like
Yeah.
it's the manager's choice. You know what I mean? If he feels like maybe
Yeah.
Anthony or Garnacho or Bruno or Mount, whoever he prefers on that ride is better than Pelestri.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his loss. Honestly, that's his loss.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True.
It's
True.
his loss.
Yeah, man. But yeah, Mason Mount.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I just hope that he causes the disruption.
He will.
Yeah.
He will. He will. Mason Mount is bro. I'm happy. This is like a new signing. It's almost like a January signing. Him coming back. The
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
issue is it was the same when he gonna how many times has he gone back to like got been injured at United? Twice, right?
This is
Twice or three
probably
times.
the third. I think this is the third
You
one.
see, I
Yeah.
want the repeat.
I think this is the third.
If he gets injured again, this is a Pogba situation. This is a Martial situation.
Exactly.
This is
Exactly.
and everybody like a normal injury prone player that we want. And then we go back and we're like,
Yeah.
why? Why did you make this
Yeah.
mistake in bringing in an injury prone
Exactly.
player? Now, obviously, you didn't know because he wasn't injured that much, but
Mm.
you understand they didn't do their due diligence.
Yeah. No.
It's
Exactly.
really, but Mount is mint. He he is
Yeah.
described as a sponge. He's described
Mm.
as coaches like players like Mason Mount. Here's also another
Mm.
player I can his brain. When I compare the when I do the comparisons onto what other players and managers say about certain players, Xavi Alonso,
Yeah.
né? He's one player that people say that he's
Yeah.
got a brain that is ridiculous. Like he's got this
Yeah.
IQ that is now. I don't know if you've heard this, but I heard that Mason Mount has got that IQ of being taught
Yeah.
everything and grasping things fast and just being
Mm.
a distinction student, A star. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's what we get
The most
from
simplest way
Mason
to
Mount.
put it.
And to
Yeah.
top that, he has won the Champions League. In our team, we've got very few
Yeah.
players that have won the Champions League. So he brings that level of
Yep.
experience. I know it's not that big, but it is there. He has the experience
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. He's
Yeah.
quick,
Yeah.
excited, bro. Mason Mount is going to terrorize people. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
And you know the thing, and the thing is, nah,
Yeah.
is that it's so funny that United have got a lot of new players this season and maybe academy graduates and whatever who actually haven't played alongside each other because of injury
Yeah.
reasons. So when you think about it, Mount hasn't been in a squad with Hoyland. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, he hasn't.
You know, he hasn't. He hasn't been in a squad where it's like on the same pitch. It's like Kobe, Mount, Rasmus, Ganacho. Fuck, I'm even gonna throw Diallo in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We haven't seen a United team that looks like that.
Yeah. Only
You know,
preseason.
and for, yeah, and for me, it's like we haven't yet seen the real first team of United
You
because they've either been on
I
loan.
say, don't
You know,
talk
they
we didn't grasp them that.
No,
I
no, no,
no.
no. That one,
Listen,
nah,
the confidence I
nah.
have
It's too
in that
late.
is the return
Yeah.
of our squad.
But by the time they return, Ben, you know that Ten Hag is it's highly improbable that he's actually going to start all those players at the same time. It's highly improbable that you're going to see um, Garnacho, Rasmus, Diallo, Mount,
No, no, I mean
Kobe,
Diallo.
Bruno.
Nah.
Do you get,
But you're gonna
do you
see
get what I'm
one
saying? And
Saka to low.
that's sort of like,
Yeah, you're gonna see a
yes,
solid team.
but that's what I'm saying. That's sort of like that type of team that I'm talking about, right? Not the old team with the Ericssons, and there's nothing wrong with that old team, with the Ericssons in the first 11, the Martial, whatever, whatever. But clearly, these guys have that time has gone, and now we're now starting to look forward and we're now starting to build from these new crop of players. So we haven't seen that, and we're probably only going to get a chance to see that next season. So even when these guys return from injury, obviously some of them, yes, they would kick off straight off the ground up and running, but some of them obviously will need some time. You know how Ten Hag is. He's going to slowly integrate them and push them into the team. So, like I said, by the time we probably see our strongest 11 when everyone's back from injury, it's probably going to be at the back end of the season when there's like 2 games left. You know what I mean? Probably like the last 3 games when everyone's properly back from injury. That's probably when we see what the team is going to be possibly looking like for next season, right? Obviously, we want to come and get more players during the break. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
CDM center back, a striker, another right back. It's a lot, but anyway, we'll get into that in the next topic. But yeah, just to conclude, let's wrap this up so we can have this conversation properly in the next section.
Yep.
Mason Mount, um, confirmed that is an Ericsson Hawk signing. The shirt thing, it hasn't been confirmed if it's a rumor or if it's true. Honestly, the coin can land on any side. And yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean,
Good.
they've sold
Anything
their
you want to
shirts.
say? Any
No?
last thing?
Did they sell their shirts? Did they hit their
Yeah,
mark?
that's all the shirts. So yeah. So it is what it is.
What it is.
Okay. Moving on. Player updates. Right. So let's continue from, from where we left off. Okay. Players coming back from injury. So press conference was had. Questions. I'm trying to look now for the questions and things on the app, but just from the top of my head,
Yeah.
it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Licha,
Mount,
Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Mount, Rasmus Hoyland. That's 6 players, right?
mm,
Who else is injured and needs to come back from injury? Yeah, I think those are the 6.
yeah.
So
But Leach is
expected date
still
of
out.
return 30. Leach is still out. So who are the ones who are expected to come back on the 30th? Because there was like an update somewhere.
No, Licha
Um,
is expected to come back after the international break. Uh,
okay,
yeah, but the ones that are in contention to play are the likes of Mount, Wan-Bissaka, and I
okay,
think Rasmus Hoyland.
yeah.
Yeah, those guys are
When
the ones that are
yeah,
back. I don't know about
when
the
is
other guys.
when is do you know when the international break is?
After this week,
After this week. Okay.
like this is
All right. So we return back to Premier League on the 30th. All right. Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, like I said, expected returns back on the 30th. We're gonna be playing Brentford away. Brentford obviously haven't been looking very good. That's a topic for another
mm,
day. But just back to the injuries. So yeah, these injured players are expected to come back on the 30th. We're gonna be playing Brentford. So I expected to have back Aaron Wan-Bissaka, um, Mason Mount, Luke Shaw,
Ras
Harry Maguire, yeah, that's it,
and
right? And then yeah, said and Rasmus. So yeah, expected date of return. So yeah, like I said, these players are gonna come back. I don't know if all of them wanna be integrated or starting at the same time. But for you, what does that team look like? Who do you start? Who do you drop?
when everybody's
Who do you think that is yeah. When everyone is fit, like no, let's talk about on the 30th, like right when players return for that game against Brentford. And I don't want to be like it's against Brentford because this is United this season.
yeah,
Anything
yeah,
anything can
yeah,
anything can go off. You can't write a team off. So who do you from these injured players, right? Specifically looking at that game on the
yeah.
30th, who do you think just needs to start? As if they're fit and ready to go. They just need to start that game. Finished and clear. No debates
So
about it.
Beto, Wan-Bissaka, Hoyland.
Yeah, yeah,
Finish.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
if Licha can be back, ah, but I doubt. I
yeah,
doubt. They said, like, I remember when he got his
yeah,
injury, they said his thing is out and for a while. So if he comes back,
yeah,
I'll be concerned if he starts because then he might just aggravate his injury again. And we don't want that, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Shobeto, Spider, and Rasmus. If those niggas are fit,
All
they
right.
must go in one time.
Yeah. All right. All right. No, I hear you. Now I want to get deep into the answers that you've given to me. All right. And I'm gonna tackle this player by
All
player.
right,
You know,
all right.
Licha, Beto,
Mm,
AWB, and of course Rasmus. So I'm gonna start with Licha,
mm,
right? 10 into the season left. We desperately do need him back in the team. But remember now, Harry Maguire has become, I don't know what word to use, reliable. Okay?
right, yeah,
He has become reliable. So do you think that because this season is basically, I don't want to say it's a write off because look, of course, the guys like you, the fans like you who still believe you can get into top four, I think there's no chance of getting back into top four.
yeah,
Do you think that we play Licha, all right? And like I said, I'm going to do this
yeah,
individually. So let's stick to a player at a
yeah.
time. So in Licha's case, do you risk fighting for top four,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
By just saying like, okay, it's back from injury, he can play. We're just gonna play him until the end of the season, or you're gonna rotate him more with, for example, Harry Maguire. Because, like I said, 10 games left. I think I would rather, we're very careful with how we play him. Maybe he plays um a half, and then the next game 60 minutes, then maybe the next game 90, and then drop it again back to 70. But just make sure that there's rotation because you don't want him to sustain another horrible injury. You want him to recover as quickly as possible during the preseason, of course, and then you just want him fit, like properly fit, or starting afresh next season. So how would you manage Licha coming back from injury, 10 games left? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so first of all, like just based on how they described the injury and like how serious it was that he could be out for a very long time, I won't risk him. I absolutely will not risk him. I
Yeah,
will obviously be monitoring him and making sure that he's running and he's comfortable on his feet. I will always be making sure that I speak to him, whether he can play or not, and I will manage his fucking minutes. 5 minutes, just so he can run and get a little body shug, to, do a sliding tackle, something. But one thing that, and we actually have not even, and I know in a season like we've had this season, it's very difficult for us to give praise. But our defense this season has put in a shift, has put in
yeah,
such a shift that we don't talk much about it. We've had 11, if
yeah,
not more, defensive pairings in that squad this season. We've not had a consistent
yeah,
back four the entire season, but we've managed to just figure it out. You know what I mean? So in the case of
yeah,
Licha, because bro, we don't, man, Licha, he's the best ball playing CD defender that we have, the best
yeah,
ball playing defender
yeah,
that we have. Short and what, but he can put in a pass. Ping
yeah,
ground, he's good. He knows how to play those cutting passes. He's the best in that we have in our group.
yeah,
10 games left.
yeah,
Man, he's not going to see 90 minutes, 90 minutes. Nah, he'll be seeing 15, what, unless he's getting stronger. You understand? Obviously, you have to be paying attention and checking to see if this guy's getting better or not. But I will not risk him. Because
yeah,
already this season, 2, 3 injuries. I don't want to take that risk again. You know what I mean? I don't
yeah,
want, even if it's the last season, because it even becomes worse towards the end of the last season. Because now, what if he gets really, really injured and then preseason, he's not there? Then the beginning of the season is important. We
yeah,
need all the players back. So if we are to, if if we can manage his minutes right up until the end of the season, he goes home for holiday, whatever, Euros, competition, what, Olympics, blah, 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 comes back, pre-season, he's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
That's there. But a player like
yeah.
Roberto Carlos, bro, I'll put him in. Obviously, I don't mention, I want, one Bissaka, I only mention him because he's my preference. I want people to get
Okay,
know.
okay.
Yeah,
Before you bounce around, yeah. Because I wanted your perspective on
okay.
Licha. So now that I think you've given it, yeah, do the same for Luke Shaw, and then yeah, we'll get to the other two.
With Luke Shaw,
So with Licha, maybe just to conclude before you jump on
yeah.
that, I think I agree with you in that sense as well. Personally, like I said, I wouldn't risk
Hmm.
it. Because, like I said, even though we're gunning for top four, I'd rather a fresh Licha for next season. I wouldn't want, and also the nature of the
Hmm.
injury. We don't want to get it we don't want to put him in a position where he's out again for another 6 months. We can't even start the beginning of the season. Nah. Play, get your fitness level up, do what you need to do during preseason, come back stronger. Like you said, best playing center back at United, probably in the league, probably in the world, very debatable. But yeah, we need him 100% fit for next season. So yeah, Luke Shaw, we'll jump onto him since you mentioned him next. Same thing with him. I'm not sure how bad his injury was.
It's my
Is he a player again? Do we, you know,
also me. I'm not
um,
sure how bad it is, but one thing I
yeah,
know in Luke Shaw, he's always got an injury in him. He'll play. Like I've been watching him.
yeah,
He'll play for long periods until he gets injured. When he's injured, he's out for some.
yeah,
But I don't. The
yeah,
only reason why I can't really give a concrete is because I don't know I'm not sure the nature of his injury right now. But Luke Shaw is
yeah,
that guy. He's back fit. You put him in. He
yeah,
gains his fitness by playing. You
yeah,
understand? You can't bench Luke Shaw then bring him in as a substitute. Nah. You let him start, let him run it
yeah,
off, then you take him off. But
yeah.
having said that, I think United, this is just a sidebar. I think United needs to start investing in a left back right now.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
into centre
No, we do.
and all that stuff, but we need to look at a left back.
Yeah, because I mean, look at Malasia. I haven't forgotten about him. It only came up when you talked about Luke Shaw's injury, and I'm like, Malasia, but he's also
Yeah,
injured, and he's been injured for like the whole season.
yeah,
We haven't even seen him since last
yeah,
season.
yeah.
He's been injured for a minute, but no, I hear where you're coming from. Because it's either we get for me personally, this is how I see it. It's either going to be Shaw and Delo on the left, and we look for a new right back for one Bisaka, or it's going to be one Bisaka and Delo on the right, and we're looking for another left back, right? And not necessarily for Shaw, because I think Shaw's time is also coming close to an end,
For Malasia.
right? So it's almost like you need to replace two left backs. Then you need to you know what I mean? If you want to say Delo and Pisaka will rotate, it's fine. They're both young players. We can have them for another 3-4 seasons. It's fine. You know, the left side is the concern because Shaw is in his 30s now. Malasia, man, he's had this injury. He's young. But again, we just don't know what his ceiling is. We don't know what type of a player he's going to become. It's like, we don't know. Like, we haven't had enough of Malasia to like make like a concrete decision on, do we actually need this player as like, is he going to be our starting left back, or is he going to be a left back that's good enough to come on, you know, yeah, to basically be the backup for the primary left back? That's sort of like the conversation. I,
Bro,
I feel that
I'm gonna
needs to
say
be had.
something here. You might not agree. A lot of people also might not agree.
Yeah,
But I think there's a fucking player in Malasia. I was
yeah,
excited when we brought Malasia in. I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I
mm,
didn't. I
mm.
wasn't excited. I was excited
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the new
No,
left
true,
back
true.
coming in,
Yeah,
strong, low center of gravity. He is a player. Malasia is a
yeah,
player. It's just unfortunate for him that he's had a rocky start to United. I actually, the,
yeah,
the reason why I said that is because it's I don't know. It's almost like he's just sort of been put in the back burner. It's almost like he doesn't exist, and it's
yeah,
one of those things like people are just not paying attention to. But I want to remind them that we've got a very good left back in there. It was a bargain that we got with Mal.
Yeah.
Me,
Nah, yeah.
like I'm not very quick to write off
I
players,
like it.
and the sole fact is
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Malasia wasn't he never. I don't want to say he wasn't given the chance because he was. It's just
yeah,
unfortunately for
yeah,
him, he was sort of bought as a backup. And when he
yeah.
came onto the team, he started off because I think when he came, Luke Shaw was injured.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So he took off the
Yeah,
mantle, and he did a decent job. He wasn't, he
yeah, he
wasn't,
did.
he wasn't mint. He wasn't prime Luke Shaw, but he did the job. There's a
Yeah,
player in there. There's a
yeah,
fighter. There's a guy that runs. I like Malaysia. I'm really
yeah,
excited to see what he's going to bring in the future. If we sell him, I would be confused. I really would,
yeah,
because I won't get it. We need
yeah.
to add and then now think of the future. But yeah, man.
Yeah, no, true. I agree with you. I think that yeah, I think that left is a concern. It's a concern. Malasia, like just like you, I was also excited about him. I saw him play. I saw there's a player in there. I'm like, he needs time. He's definitely gonna become better.
Mm,
And there's a lot that we can get out of this player. But again, it's timing and how we're going to construct this team. Because if we're truly going to say that we are a team that's starting from scratch and we want to build for the future, it needs to translate on that pitch.
mm,
Then unfortunately, we can't continue buying players like Varane. We can't continue buying players like Casemiro. And it's not like I don't appreciate what they did for us last season, but last season was last season.
yeah.
We can't keep playing players like Ericsson. It's like I want to say we don't owe them anything. Like, thank you for what you did last season, but it doesn't mean we want to start you this season. You guys have had great careers. Ericsson, unfortunately, for playing for Spurs, Aski's my guy. But like when it comes to Casimiro and Varane, you guys have won and did it all. You know what I mean? Like you.
Oh, that's twice the Spurs. Deservedly so, man. But those guys were raped yesterday by Fulham. Like, what the fuck?
dude, dude. So unfortunately for Ericsson, we don't owe them anything. You know what I mean? So I don't want to see them next season. Unless we just don't replace them. I don't want to see them in that starting lineup because if we're going to say we're starting from scratch, we're starting with the young players. I want to see the youth and I want to see the younger players getting a chance. As much as I like Luke Shaw, he's not our future. He is not the player that's going to get us to the promised land. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I need to see
But deep.
more. Malash is going to be back and fit and ready to start. He needs to be the one starting next season. And this translates to all the positions on the pitch. We need to start seeing the younger guys. If Ericsson is seeing something in Kamwala, it's Kamwala over Harry Maguire. Let these guys play. Let them get used to the thing. Let's do an Arsenal. Let's get beat. It's fine. But if you truly believe that these are the players, and I'm not saying completely eradicate all the senior players from the first team, no. But again, you have to look at it from a point of view that is this senior player gonna be the player for us to get where we need to get, and they're undroppable. For example, like Bruno, who is now almost 30. He's a player that's still vital to this team, so we can't drop him.
Mm.
So that's one I want to see going forward next season to say we're starting Malasia. We're not starting Shaw. And that's just how it's gonna be. We're starting Kamwala and we're starting what's his name? Martinez. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
Unless he's gonna go and get another defender,
Mm.
etc., etc., etc.
Mm.
I just believe that that's the stance that we need to be taking now.
You know,
Yeah. Oh, you wanted to say something?
yes, I like everything that you said, and it's true. Like, we need to start thinking about the
Mm,
future. But if the club are not showing us that they're trying to implement certain strategies in bringing in these players, we are going to have to
mm,
adjust our minds into dealing with what we have. That's usually how
yeah.
I deal with United. So you we want this player. They know that we need this player. They know that we need a midfielder. They know that we need a left back, or they know that we need a striker. But then the club itself are not going to buy these players. Do you understand? And this is
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
problem always lies. Because the fans are like, but dude, who are you going for? Like, do you realize that we need this? Like, there's always a disconnect between the club and the fans. What the club wants, and what
Yeah.
the fans want. That's usually where the disconnect.
Yeah.
So you look at these situations where it's like we've been wanting De Jong, then we don't get him, and then it's like, okay, we didn't get De Jong. Whose fault was that? The owners. Okay, we didn't end up buying
Yeah.
him. Who stayed? Scott McTominay and Fred. Then everybody gets
Yeah.
pissed off at the manager and all the things that are happening.
Yeah.
Nah, the manager wanted to get somebody else, or this thing wanted to get this guy, wanted to
Yeah.
get a different player. So the club needs to show an incentive. They need to show,
Yeah.
like, they need to show that no, we want to get this player. They want to get this player. We want to get this player. And then that's when we can start having these conversations where we're like, nah, this player, his time is up. You see, like Casemiro. Casemiro, we bought him
Yeah.
for how many years? Because he got a big contract for an old guy. Like he was 20, 30, 29.
I think
Was it 5
we
years?
gave him 3.
No, 4 or 5 years. It was a big
I think
contract.
it's either 3 or 4.
Okay. So you see Casemiro, and he's the
Yeah.
prime example I want to give. If we are not going to
Yeah.
buy a specialist CDM, I don't want to part ways with Casemiro
Mm.
until he runs his contract
Yeah.
down. Now that might just sound
Yeah.
like that might sound like whoa, but what do you mean he's old? Nah. If we're not replacing him, why get rid of Casemiro? Because that's what we
Yeah.
do. We need a player
Yeah.
in a certain position, né? We don't get the player. And then the player that is there, we
Yeah.
sell him. And then there's a gap. And now we
Yeah.
have to start converting players to be this and do this. Then we have to go into the academy, do that. You see, this is where all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fighting begins. So
Yeah.
in that sense, yeah, like if the club can show us that they're going to do this, like you see, like Harry Maguire, if
Mm.
we're not going to buy a defender, I do
Yeah.
not want to part ways with Harry Maguire. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I would even extend his contract if we're not trying to. Like if
Mm.
I'm not seeing a Todibo or a Van de or a
Yeah.
Braithwaite or a Arujo or a Rudiger, somebody being, names being thrown around so that we know that we're going. I
Yeah.
don't want to part ways with Harry Maguire. I don't, because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
You see. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in that sense, yeah, yeah. That's how I
No.
look at Manchester United. That's why I don't get pissed off at certain things, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the club needs
Yeah. No, I get
to,
you.
like, they need to show that they want to do this. They need to. How is it that we identify the problems and then the people in charge
Yeah.
can't? That's always a question that I ask myself
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
No, I hear you. And with the Casemiro thing, I would like to see Sofia and Amrabat being given more of a chance. Because I
He's
think
on
he's
loan.
more of the specialist CD. I think he's more yeah, I know he's on loan, but I'm just saying, like, I think he's more the specialist CDM than Casemiro. So I think him, I don't
Nope,
know. I don't know. I don't know, fam.
nope,
I don't
nope.
know. Like, because I want to say, like, I have seen him. We have had a game with him and Kobe, but again, it's just been under weird circumstances. But
There was a second
I don't
half
know. I
where
guess it
he
hasn't
was
worked out for him
absolutely
the
on
way.
point. I don't know which game it
Yeah.
was, but he came on as a substitute
Yeah.
second half, or he started again. I don't know, but he was mint.
Yeah.
But him being more
Yeah.
specialist CDM than Casemiro, hey, see, I mean,
Yeah. 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 I hear you.
between the two,
Yeah. I think
Casemiro's
you
contract
know
with
what?
us, like that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's like we dodged the bullet there
With
with
Amrabat,
with Sophie and Amrabat. Like, I think we're just fortunate that it just ended up being a loan and not an outright buy.
mm,
Because yeah, man, we're gonna be scratching our heads thinking like, oh, what are we gonna do here
but D,
with this player?
listen,
You know, like we bought him and he's on a 5-year contract and we're paying him 200 a week.
Amrabat right now,
It is nothing.
he doesn't seem
Yeah,
important because he's down the pecking order. But
yeah,
when he leaves, and if we don't replace him, we are going to miss
Yeah.
Amrabat. We are going to miss Fred.
Yeah.
We are going to miss whoever's the
Yeah.
next player that will leave that we're not going to replace. Unfortunately, that's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Mm.
because if Casemiro gets injured, the first name that comes into our head is Amrabat or Kobe Main.
Yeah.
You know, or somebody to pair with
Yeah.
Kobe Main is Amrabat. So man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's also what that's what I was saying. Like, if he is gonna be a player that was saying, okay, we don't want to get rid of him too soon, or he's gonna be one of those players that fall victim to, we're getting rid of the wrong players. Then why not? Because we got the 10 games left, right, and we're still in the FA Cup competition. Um, and we're not really gonna make it into top four, right? This is my opinion again. I'm not saying that this is factor or gold, but why not? You know what I mean? Because Casemiro is still gonna be around. We know what he's capable of, so why not? Why not drop Casemiro, start Sofyan Amrabat, right? Because if anything, if he's not gonna be playing well, you know, and besides, and with Casemiro, we also need to manage him, right? So instead of playing Casemiro 90 minutes, why not play Casemiro 60, bring in Sofyan Amrabat, or start Sofyan and then bring in what you call is Casemiro. You check. So why not use this time that we have left to actually see if we do need the player indeed, like if we need to keep him, or if we just need to return him back and say, you know what, thank you for the trial period, but we're not going to continue our subscription. You check what I'm saying?
Mm,
So yeah, that's sort of like the way I see the whole Amrabat situation.
yeah. No, I feel you.
Mm,
I do. I do.
yeah,
Amrabat is a very strange one because he was somebody that was like the player profile is what we needed. A destroyer.
yeah,
We needed a destroyer next to Casemiro.
mm,
Somebody that can ping balls, that can push forward. We needed that. Now he's given us that.
yeah,
I don't know. I honestly don't think like I really don't have a problem with Amrabat. I just feel like his style
mm,
of play is just not palatable to people. I don't know.
yeah,
But I really don't have a problem. Why he doesn't start certain games, again, I can't answer that. Like that's preference because what you
yeah,
said is good. Like what you said is spot on. And again, we've noticed even the first half of the season when Amrabat was there were certain games where he elevated
mm,
us and he put us in very good position. Amrabat has got a shot in him. Like it's blasphemy that this guy
yeah,
hasn't yet scored a banker yet. And I'm waiting. So
yeah, yeah,
there's a player in there. Unfortunately, due to circumstances in Manchester United, we're just not utilizing him the right way, or we're just not. I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe the winning formula,
mm,
I don't know. I don't know. But I like him.
yeah,
I
yeah,
really, really do. Because that position,
yeah,
that defensive midfield position, that CDM, that is the holy
yeah,
grail. That is the creme de la
yeah,
creme. Once that
yeah,
position is reached, bro, all bets are off.
yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
and and I think you'll also benefit from if we do decide, let's just say he doesn't get the game time that we want him to get into the end of the season. I think it'd also be if Ten Hag takes a gamble and decides, you know what, I'm gonna just outright and buy him because I can work with him during preseason. Because remember, we never got a preseason with Amrabat. Amrabat came
Came
um exactly right when the season already started.
yeah.
So I think maybe if given that opportunity to get a preseason, because Rasmus also didn't have a preseason, but he is now kicked into gear. So
He
I
had a
think just
preseason with
having
Atalanta.
all these players, huh?
He had a preseason with Atalanta.
Yeah, with Atalanta, yes, but not with
Yeah.
United, right? So I think going into next season, I think it's going to be a very good opportunity, and I don't think we're going to have any major competitions between. Well, no, we don't have any major competitions, right?
No.
No Euros because
Oh
what's
no.
happening in between is
Euros.
Olympics. These Euros,
Olympics. It's crazy. Crazy stuff.
Olympics, I know is happening, so I don't know. Yeah, okay. So in any case, I think this is gonna be a perfect preseason with a lot of these new signings that we got who were injured and they couldn't integrate the signings that we got last season that weren't really part because some of these guys came in late. Bo Licha came late from the World Cup and whatever and all of this. So this is going to be the perfect preseason with all our players available to really assess the situation and see what our way is forward. With Palestri, with Ahmed, with the McTominays, with the Maguires, do we sell? With the Varans, Casemiro's, I'm going to bring in more signings, etc. I think this is going to be a proper. I think this is probably the preseason that is going to benefit Ten Hag the most. I
Oh,
think going into the third season of Ten Hag, if I don't want to jinx anything, but we don't know what Ten Hag's current situation is. But if you still want to be our manager next season, I think next season is going to be Ten Hag's season. Provided everything goes to plan, provided that all these players are going to be fully fit for preseason, we bring in new players, etc. I think next season is going to be the one. I think we're going to kick off the ground running, and I think it's going to blow so many people's minds, right? And also provided that these players also, come in tip top form,
true.
and and also we're looking forward to a Kloppless Liverpool next season. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm also looking forward to it because I don't like Liverpool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love the competitiveness in the Premier League. So it's gonna be a shame
It's nice.
to
I mean,
lose Klopp in the Premier
it
League.
was a different thing when they knocked us off our perch for a little while. So it's cool. We're just shaking it off. We'll be back.
Yeah, yeah. Now I hear you. And then obviously the last two players, but I think we spoke about them a bit. But just to wrap it up, Aaron Bissaka, Rasmus Højlund. I'll start with Rasmus Højlund. I think he's one. There's not even any debate around it. His injury was not hectic. He comes back into this
Yeah.
team. He plays until the end of the season. There's no two ways about it. I don't have a problem with him. He's young. Doesn't need to be managed. Like the same story we're given about Licha.
Mm.
I think Rasmus gets in, he starts. I don't know if you've got anything different to say about that
What if Rasmus starts and
or anything you want to add. Yeah, Rasmus starts.
there was a point that you were making, but now the thought has left. Like
Okay.
previous. What were we talking about just prior to this? What were you concluding?
Prior to this.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I concluding? I was concluding preseason
Oh,
that
I wanted to say something
Ten
about
Hag is going.
preseason. Oh, and I also wanted to
Yeah.
I get it now. You mentioned that next season
Mm,
is Erik ten Hag's season. That's also
yeah.
that's his make or break. Next season, he's
Yeah.
going to be fired if he doesn't perform. Believe it. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah. True. True.
if
Yeah.
he gets the boys running, all well and good. If he starts tanking and doing the bullshit
Yeah.
that we did this season, unfortunately for him, because he
Yeah.
starts, because that's the period that we
Exactly.
give managers three, to do. And
Yes. Yes.
in a weird way, it's really unfortunate for him because he still has the best win record of all managers that have managed at Manchester United.
Yeah.
So for him to lose,
Mm,
I mean, we'll see the extent next season. But I
yeah.
wanted to mention this. Erik ten Hag has been with United for 2 seasons, and for 2 seasons
Yeah.
we've had very bad pre-seasons.
Yeah.
When I say bad, I mean the beginning of the season wasn't good. So clearly the pre-season was
Yeah.
fucked up. There are, and they
Yeah.
said that we are going back to America. These guys are going back to America again.
Yeah.
This next tour, bro,
Eh,
that is
Nah, man.
worrying me.
Mm,
Yeah, it is worrying me.
Yeah, no, it is a worry. It is a worry. I don't even know how we're gonna end up dealing with it, to be honest. Um, yeah. So I guess we're just gonna have to find. I just hope that it's gonna be something
This
different for him. You know.
plug my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'll just think that I just really hope it's just gonna be something really different. I'm just hoping for something different.
Me too.
You know what
Me
I mean?
too. I mean,
I'm
I
just hoping for
wanted
something
something
different, to
different
be
this
honest.
this past season. Like I was so pumped up for the season.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way we started. I was pissed. And then the injuries
Yeah.
and I was like, but what is it that we're doing wrong? Are we playing too many games? And I felt like there
Yeah.
were too many games. But at the same time,
Yeah. Yeah.
not all the players were there. We started off with the kids, and then the senior players came in, and then it was this whole
Yeah.
that is bullshit. Everybody must be on that plane all at once. Go do everything together. Come
Exactly.
back together. Not this. Ah.
Yeah.
But again,
Mm, mm,
Euro,
yeah.
what Olympics? How is our fucking
Yeah.
thing going to be? I'm even more scared, D. I'm even more scared
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't think there's gonna be proper preparation for next season.
Yeah.
Do you understand? These past 2 seasons, we have not
Yeah. I
had
get
any competition to distract these guys.
you.
Now we have. Ish, I'm worried. I'm worried.
Yeah.
Worried. Because look, D,
Oh
Arsenal
man. Mm,
last season had a flying start. This season they had a shaky start, but they had a flying start.
yeah.
We need a flying start. And a flying
Yeah.
start
We do.
only happens when we have got good preparation. You know.
Yeah. 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 No, I feel you, man. I feel you. But yeah, man. I think that concludes. If there's anything else, um, in terms of injury updates, and Bissaka, I think he's the last player we didn't touch on. Again, I don't know the extent of his injury, but it's starting to become a problem of late, So I don't know if there's call for concern, and that's why I mentioned that we need to start looking into another right back, you know. But obviously we know the strengths that he brings to our side.
Mm.
He's one player that, again, because we know in detail more of Licha's injury is why we're saying he needs to be managed. But I think with when it comes to Bisaka, usually he just gets off the ground running. So he's definitely one player that as soon as he's fit, he
Yeah.
starts.
I I
You
I
know,
I, I will
he starts. We've never had a problem with his fitness.
yeah,
His fitness levels have always been
yeah,
good. So if he's gonna be available to start on the 30th, start him.
one time.
That's literally all I have to say about
One time.
that. So yeah, man. Anything before we move on?
Nah, man. I think we've covered most of the things that we needed to cover that in that topic.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Bruno Fernandes.
Hey,
Fernandes. Um, yeah, man. this one, this
Magnifico.
one is it's a it's a tricky topic. All right, and it's not only about should Bruno remain captain, but also just his performance in general. And do you think, with Mason Mount returning, with Kobe who can play in that number 10 position, Ericsson can play in that number 10 position. So I want to tackle that first before we even get on to should he continue as United's captain. Bruno hasn't been good of late. You know, I think and I think it's a combination of two things. The first thing is what I mentioned last week about the captaincy, being on his shoulder, just burdening all this responsibility
Mm.
with United not playing very well. So I think he's overplaying, right? The second thing is I think he's looking more worse than he is because of the players that he's playing with, right? So sometimes you'd like in a game, obviously he does his Hollywood passes, right? But we're only going to remember that Hollywood pass that maybe converted into a chance or a goal, right? And it's unfortunate that Rashford has just been piss poor. So we end up not seeing like the ones that didn't get resulted and focus more on the ones that were completely mispassed. Because
I think again.
like you'll find a lot of the time, like a good pass will come in, someone scores, you're like, who assisted? And you'll be like, it was Bruno. You check what I mean. But you miss that because you know that 9 times out of 10, when these guys are given good balls, they do nothing with it. You check what I'm saying. So I think he's like performance is being clouded by the inconsistencies and what the other players are doing because we are focusing on the person who's receiving the ball and what they're gonna do with it. It's very rare we unless that pass was just meant like Scott McTominay's pass to Garnacho during Everton. That thing was Perlo like, it was Messi like, it was like Xavi like McTominay. Since when did you make so those type of through passes? You know what I mean, fam? It was so meant. It was like how? But anyway, I don't want to get too much into it. But yeah, so we look at who's receiving the ball and what they're doing with the ball. So now you end up seeing Garnacho receiving the ball, maybe messes it up. we see Anthony that side or Rashford getting the ball, messing it up, whatever. And then we sort of like, oh, Bruno was quiet this match. And like, Bruno wasn't quiet. He pinged so many passes. It's the guys who received the ball who fucked it up. You check what I mean? And then we only again see the ones that didn't get, to the players' feet. So I think with Bruno, like, so I think with the Bruno thing, it's just the thing of it's the players around him that are making him look much more worse than he actually is, or underperforming. Let me not even say he's underperforming. He's just having good games. You know what I mean? He's not necessarily having bad games. He's just having good games, but players around him are disappointing him.
Pastor D,
Now moving on,
let's go. One time. Can I get an amen? My guy,
amen.
you said you are 100.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry. I disturbed you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on the performance side of things, right? So I'm sort of gonna tackle both these things, and then you can also give your input on it. That's my thing about his performance and people coming out there and saying Bruno this, Bruno that. That's how I feel. How people are translating it in the wrong way. On the captaincy side of things, I don't know because at this present time, I just don't see anyone else who's fit to hold the captaincy mantle. But again, because like the other players are not, complementing Bruno, not being, you know what I mean, this cohesive team, I think because he's naturally the captain, it looks bad on his part. And then naturally people start to question, should he be captain because the team is not performing? And you always look towards the captain, the team leader, in order for things to get ticking on the pitch. But he, just like the manager, is not responsible of players' consistency. He's not responsible of players' performances. That's on every single individual. But as soon as those guys collectively as a unit are all playing well together, it's very easy for the captain to step in and make things happen because everyone's on the same wavelength, right? So with him being captain, like I said, I don't think there's any other contenders to be captain. Ole mentioned that Maguire makes a great captain, because he has got all the captaincy qualities. It was just unfortunate that he just went through a bad time in his career, that ended up resulting in him being stripped of that captain. But I think at that time when he was you know playing well for United in the first 2-3 seasons for United, quite rightfully so, he deserved that captaincy. I had no problem with him being captain. No one questioned it. Everyone only started getting angry when his performances dipped, and then he became this Harry Maguire that we know of him today. Then it became very toxic, and it's just unfortunate that it's just how the football world operates. Very emotional fan base. But yeah, man, at this present time, I don't see who else. Because for me, it wouldn't make sense giving the captaincy back to Maguire. Doesn't make sense. So at this present time, it's Bruno or no one else. So should he remain United's captain? In my opinion, yes, he should. But at the same time, I employ the United players around him to assist them. You know what I mean? They need to help their captain do the best job that he can do by them remaining fit, by them remaining consistent. Sorry, and making sure that the performances are good week in week out. They need to make him look good. You see, like the way the strikers at City have made De Bruyne the player that he is. If it wasn't for Aguero, if it wasn't for Haaland, De Bruyne's not. If De Bruyne had Rashford, you think De Bruyne's gonna be the De Bruyne he is today? Like Rashford, how many passes do I need to ping to you in order for you to be scoring goals? You check what I'm saying. So sometimes it's not about the guy who's supplying the ball; it's just about the guy who needs to finish. I mean, just imagine if Pogba had Rasmus. We would be having a different conversation about Pogba today. Pogba was doing the same thing like Bruno, finding the players, giving them all these mint passes, doing nothing with it. Even during the Lukaku era, Lukaku had a great first season. Second season, Lukaku wasn't doing fuck all. So yeah, man. Your opinion?
Those Timberland boots were on the second season.
Hey, man.
Tracking the ball.
What say you, man, of the Bruno situation?
Man, Bruno is my captain through and through. Like I've never, like when he came into United, I looked at him. Yeah, I know we had David De Gea. I mean, if David De Gea was still here, I think in terms of
Yeah.
seniority and just legend status, David De Gea deserves to
Yeah.
be captain. But then, does David De Gea
Yeah.
have that thing in him? You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? David De Gea, he's vocal,
Yeah.
but I don't think
Yeah.
captain-ish. He's a senior player.
Yeah.
Player
Yeah.
that you can rely on,
Yeah.
like the senior player that you can rely on to get the other guys going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bruno,
Yeah.
for me, bro, the first time I saw this guy was love at first sight. This guy comes
Yeah.
in, does
Yeah.
his thing, and I always have this
And
thing for players that change it.
mm,
An individual player
yeah.
adds so much to a team. That is
Yeah.
an ability that you just can, like, you can't train it. You can't teach that. You either you have it
Yeah.
or you don't. There are certain players who just get
Yeah.
into a team. Man, I'm not comparing Bruno to this player, but I want to make people understand what I'm talking about. Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Jude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have
No, I get
what is this? Jamal Musiala for Bayern Munich. You know, that kid.
you. Yeah.
He's got this, you
Yeah.
know, you've got Pascal Gross for Brighton. You know,
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
Odegaard for Arsenal. These are players that when you're watching them, bruh, they're just, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
has got all of that and he's got ability.
Yeah.
He has got
True.
ability. And to make matters worse,
Yeah.
in that United camp, in that United
Yeah.
squad, when you look at it,
Mm,
the only captains were Varane, because Varane captained
mm,
France. Casemiro is captain of
yeah.
Brazil, but he was never captain at Real Madrid. Uh,
Yeah.
Harry Maguire was not captain at Leicester.
Leicester or
Onana
England.
wasn't captain at anywhere. Who else?
Yeah.
Goes on. Bruno was the captain of Sporting
Yeah.
Lisbon. Bruno was
Yeah.
captain of the team before he was tipped to be captain in the team before Sporting Lisbon. So that captain
Yeah.
aspect of Bruno, that quality,
Yeah.
he's a captain. He's a captain. It
Yeah.
just there is no I don't know. I don't know. And the funny thing is
Yeah.
about Bruno, you remove Bruno, like you take that
Mm,
he embraces it. I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if he's the next captain of Portugal. I wouldn't be.
Mm, mm,
You understand?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure he has done the captaincy armband for Portugal once or twice. I don't
Dude,
know. When Cristiano Ronaldo was not there.
let me tell you something.
Correct me, I
Let me
don't
tell you
know.
something.
Uh,
Né? I think he has done the captain when Ronaldo hasn't played.
uh,
He has been the default backup captain. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you why Bruno won't be captain of Portugal.
mm.
Because Bruno and Ronaldo are gonna retire at the same time, my guy. Ronaldo is gonna play at Portugal till he dies. I'm telling you, fam. Bruno will not get that opportunity, unfortunately. 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 As much as we want to see Bruno captain for Portugal.
So scoring 50
Yeah.
goals. This guy just scored Al Nassr.
Dude.
I know CR7 needs to
Yeah.
fucking relax, say. 50 goals for Al
Dude,
Nassr.
he needs to calm down.
He's on his way to
Dude.
ascension. Meaning
Yeah.
that guy. No, you're right.
Madness.
Yeah, no,
Madness.
if you put it like that, it's a wrap for Bruno. You'll never see that.
It's a wrap for Bruno. You're never. But yeah, I distracted you. Keep going. Eh,
Like, I was doing the math, and I'm like, but wait.
yeah.
CR7 is at least a decade over than Bruno, a decade and some change.
Mm.
What is Tinder on?
Yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
I remember that, he's comparing him to CR7.
Mm.
CR7 is going to play until he's
Dude,
60. So, yeah.
dudes.
I
And Tui literally, and Tui physically
no,
can't.
yeah.
That's the only time I see Ronaldo retiring.
You saw that?
Because I honestly believe Messi will retire before
I do
Ronaldo.
believe so.
Honestly, I
I
believe
think
it.
so too.
I
I
believe it.
think so. You
Yeah.
remember that interview?
I think in a season or
You
two.
remember the
Yeah, yeah,
interview
yeah.
for
Go ahead.
TT when he was saying the day he realized that he was done playing,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted him to run or something.
Mm,
The guy
mm.
looked at it like, "Yo,
Dude. Yeah, it's like it's time. Dude. Like my time has come. I want to, but my legs are refusing. They don't want. They're like, nah, fam. Mm-mm. Calm down. Mm,
captain material through and through." That guy knows how to
mm.
absorb pressure. He knows how to deal with it. Like, have you ever noticed when people are complaining about a player that is like, oh, throwing this thing, doing this? It That's all it just ends at. They will just complain say that this
Yeah,
guy is throwing his hand, but you have got no idea what
yeah,
this guy's doing. Bruno is the best. I mean, not the
true.
best captain we have had, no, but
Yeah,
in light of the situation that have been at United, I couldn't have picked a better captain for us. I mean, if Bruno wasn't at United and Casemiro came in, that captaincy is going to Casemiro. You know
100%.
what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Or Varane,
100%.
or Roberto
Yeah,
Carlos, or who else?
sure. Mm,
Now, I would
not sure about Luke Shaw.
I would give Shaw the
Not sure.
I would give Shaw the captaincy only for what's the seniority. Luke Shaw has been in the bro. Luke Shaw's
I get
interviews
that. I get
are
that.
some of the best that I've watched. They've given some of the best
Yeah,
insights into the what is happening in the club with the players, how they play.
yeah,
He anyway, yeah, I see where you're disagreeing, but I would like you to just add it.
yeah,
Yeah, what is
yeah.
it about?
Man, I don't really want to add. I don't really want to add anything, but
Okay, but what is it about
I
Shaw
don't see
that you
it.
don't see captain material?
Mm,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. For me, he doesn't seem like a leader. You know,
Oh, really?
for me, he just seems like yeah. I don't see Luke Shaw as a leader. I just see him as I don't
It's
know, man.
football. Oh,
I see more as like a like a manager, like not a manager in that sense, but like a manager, maybe a coordinator. Maybe a coordinator is the best word to use,
mhm.
but someone who you just huh? Yeah. So someone who you just say like what you call this? Like, okay, Luke Shaw, I want you to I want to be late for training session. Do you mind if you can just like do all the stuff, you know what I mean? Get the boys to do the usual routine, whatever, whatever, whatever. And it's like, sure, boss. He gets there, guys. Manager said we should do this. So let's start with our usual drills, XYZ, 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 you know. But I don't see him in a leadership position for him to like that stuff comes from him. You know,
I
I
see.
think he'll be sitting down with all the
Mm.
players and be like, "Yeah, I'm also waiting for the manager." Do you get what I mean? But I
Really?
see Bruno like, yes, I see
Wow.
Bruno like he's all the. I see Bruno like sitting. I see Bruno. I see Maguire. I even see Scott McTominay. They're all waiting for the manager and he's late. Either three of them, either one of the three, stand up and say, "All right, guys, while the manager's taking his time to come, don't you think we should do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z until he comes?" I see those three players doing it. I don't see Luke Shaw doing it. But I trust Luke Shaw to do it if I tell him, get the team to do it. I see other players, you tell them, they'll be like, nah, fam. Like, that's someone else to do it. I don't want to be that guy. You get what I mean?
You know why I picked Luke Shaw?
Yeah.
Because Luke Shaw lets his
Okay.
football talk. That's the one thing I
Yeah.
love about Luke Shaw. Ever since his tumultuous relationship with Mourinho, he has been letting his football
Yeah.
talk. This guy
Yeah.
is just like Three Lang Park. Bro,
Yeah.
left wing, up, down, same pace. I don't know. It shows
Yeah.
he his football gives me a lot of it gives me courage to give him a lot of responsibility. That I can't, like what you said, like you don't see him being that guy. I see him being that guy. I
Yeah.
see Luke Shaw when the guys are just there chilling. Like if in that scenario, ne, I just see him going to take the cones,
Mm.
just putting them. and then everybody just be like, hey, we'll be like,
Yeah.
yo, guys, like, can we? I see that. I actually see it, and it's strange. Like I feel like
Mm.
Luke Shaw is one of the most mature guys in United. Like you
100%.
understand?
100%.
Like he has got this.
Yeah.
It's strange. I can't explain it, but
I get what you mean. Like I 100% get what you mean without even explaining
yeah,
it. I get it. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying what you call this.
no, like
That's why I try to give that
yeah,
same like
yeah,
training
yeah.
example, you know. When I meant just chilling and blomming, I meant like not in a sense
Not,
of
not taking action, basically.
not taking action
Yeah,
exactly. Do you get what I mean? So
but I see
he's
him do as well.
himself,
Yeah,
he can start the training by himself or whatever, you know. But I just don't see him like looking around and being like, "I let me huddle up the boys." You get what I
I
mean?
agree.
I don't see it, you know.
He,
Yeah, but if
he
he's
leads
told
by
to, I see him saying, "Yeah, cool. Let me get it
yeah.
started." You
You know,
check.
he leads by
Yeah.
example, and just because of that, that's
Yeah.
why I just think it's natural to give him. And I think usually certain players like that, just because we don't see it, it could even elevate him.
Mm.
Because he's been given this
Yeah.
responsibility, he might even become even more of a beast.
True.
But he
Exactly.
definitely, to me, I see those qualities. Just
Yeah.
it's just a moment. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of saying, okay, Luke Shaw, we've seen what you've done. We think
Mm.
you deserve to be the captain. My guy, take here's the captaincy. I think he's not gonna run away from
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
He will embrace it. Will
Yeah.
elevate him. He's
Yeah.
other players.
Yeah.
I think you give them that responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
true. 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 They'll be like, nah,
yeah,
fam. I just want to be at the back,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. All right. Any last things you want to say on the Bruno situation? I
Listen,
think my ultimate answer is that should continue being United's captain,
yes,
and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Bruno is frustrating everybody. I get it. But I implore people to watch what he does because I hate the way people watch football.
Yeah.
D. YouTube football. There's a lot of
Mm.
YouTube football, and these are the things like the stories that we're always debating and what are from people who are YouTube watchers, people who don't watch football
Yeah.
to understand.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yes, Bruno can
Mm.
have a bad game where he doesn't provide an assist and a goal. But my
Yeah.
God, if you watch the things that he's doing, the chances that he's trying to create, like you said, D, he's surrounded by players
Mm.
that maybe are below his standards. If he's in a position or
Yeah.
in a thing, I picture. Remember those, those pings that Bruno likes, those cross pings, where he's from the left and he
Yeah.
puts it to the right. I picture him giving Mo
Yeah.
Salah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
picture Bruno giving those balls to Mo Salah and Mo Salah getting there, or
Mm.
Diaz getting there
Dude.
and utilizing the balls. A lot of the chances that
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes has created at United, they've not been dealt
Mm.
with. Now you can
Yeah.
very easy to say, okay, the whole team as a collective are doing this. Cool. But those individuals that didn't put those goals to bed, we know
Yeah.
who they are. We know who they are. Our
Yeah.
front three this season
True.
has been a disaster. Now,
Yeah.
you look at the chances that Bruno has created this season. D,
Mm.
the chances that he has created this season, they are less than last
Yeah.
season, but they're on
Yeah.
par. Like he is consistent with his pursuit to provide and create chances. That is what you always get from
Yeah.
Bruno. Whether it's a Hollywood pass that doesn't
Yeah.
make it, whether it is you that is what you will get. But people
Yeah.
they've got no patience for that. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
People want him
Yeah.
out. He's the easy scapegoat when the team,
Exactly.
like last time when we got beaten by Liverpool, and he was throwing his hands. Oh, he wanted to be substituted. This. It's very easy because
Mm.
he's the captain. But I implore people
Yeah.
to watch what he does. See,
Yeah. Pay
yeah,
attention.
pay attention. If he's really giving you,
Mm.
if you see Bruno, every ball that he gets, he loses it. Every ball that he gets, he misplaces it. Then we can sit down. I will tell
Mm.
you that yes, you're right. I will
Yeah.
tell you because I
Yeah.
see it. But then
Mm.
if you come here
Yeah.
that just because he missed one chance or one, come on, grow up. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
leave our captain,
No.
our magnifico. I love Bruno. I love Bruno.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love
All
my
right.
captain. I love my captain. I mean, he's not vintage, old school Man United esque captain, but for what the
Yeah.
nonsense that we have, man, I'm holding
Yeah.
on to him.
Nah, I got you.
Yeah.
Nah, I got you. All right. Moving on. Andre Onana. I think this is a long time coming conversation.
Ah,
We always said that, I know in the beginning, yeah, we were talking about him here and there, criticizing him heavily,
ah,
etc., etc.
ah.
But they got to a time when we just put the brakes on, and we're like, you know what? We'll give you a chance, do what you need to do, and we'll come assess you later.
Yeah.
You know, and even though we should wait a bit longer, I think rightfully so. I think he deserves to get some praise now before the end of the season because I think he's been a huge part to a lot of the games that we have won. I think that he's getting
And
better. Like you mentioned before.
he's not at fault for the
Yeah,
games that
like you
we
mentioned
lost.
before. Yeah, and like you mentioned before we even started um this episode that he's finding his rhythm. You know, his journey is unfolding. And when you look back at the season, how he started and how he's playing now, he's really it's a journey. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And personally, I think I don't know if I don't know if this boils down to him individually or the managers and the coaches who are working with
yeah.
him, but I think he has now got to a point where he has struck a perfect balance between this thing of he likes doing of coming out as the fifth defender, and this thing of him being a goalkeeper.
Mm,
Because in the beginning, it's like he was never in his
yeah.
goalpost. Players were just chipping goals over him for
Yeah.
fun. You understand? He was, trying to play as this outfield
Oh,
player.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, guy, we get that you're a good on-field player. We get it.
Man.
But you need to be a
Yeah.
goalkeeper, fam. You know what I
That's
mean?
your
You're
job.
a
That's your
goalkeeper.
primary job.
That's your job. You get what I'm saying? And then that sort of like became more of his role. And he was just doing more of the goalkeeping stuff, you know? And then yeah, that's sort of like I don't know how that came and went, but now I've got this like perfect balance of him coming out and him staying in the
Mm,
goalpost. So it's like it's being refined and it's getting better every game after game after game after game. He's stopping balls more often. He's coming out when he needs to come out. He's staying when he needs to stay. You don't just randomly always just find him not in his goalpost. I think he has now got that point where he has struck that perfect, medium. And now it's just the other smaller things that he needs to work on because let's face it, we can never have a perfect goalkeeper. We can never have a perfect player. De Gea wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? He's had to develop his game later on. And I'll still continue saying this, that the reason why I don't want to compare Onana now and De Gea is because, Onana has come in as a more of an established goalkeeper than what De Gea
yes.
came in. And even when you look at their
Yes.
ages in which they came in at taking this mantle, and you could argue that for De Gea, it was much more difficult
Right.
because at that
He was a
time,
kid.
United was still winning
And he
titles.
was
You know what I mean? Whereas now, exactly, and he was a kid. Whereas now we're in this rebuild stage. So I believe the pressure was much more on De Gea. When you look at the keepers that came even before him, it was crazy. So yeah, man, Onana, like I said, getting better. You can definitely see the improvements in his game. You also mentioned before we started this that he's actually considered less goals than Spurs and is it Everton, than Martinez and
uh, no,
um
we have
the other
considered
one.
as United, we've considered less than
Yeah.
Spurs and Aston Villa.
Oh, I've considered less
Yeah.
goals. Yeah. So obviously they have scored more goals, but we've considered less. And obviously that's thanks to our goalkeeper who's stopping the goals from going in. Because let's face it, we haven't had a very strong defense this season.
Yes.
So yeah, man. Onana, all I can say is, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
We're starting to see you. You know what I mean? And
We're starting to appreciate you more. Like, hey,
um,
man.
I was trying to appreciate you
Yeah.
more. It was going to be tough. It was always going to be tough. I mean, you're competing against David. You know what I mean? That boy, ball stuck to his glove like glue.
Man,
You
ah,
know, it reminds me of, and David. David reminds me of this new meme that's going around. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like the Darwin Nunes thing. Like Darwin Nunes likes to score goals the hard way. He doesn't like to score easy
ah,
goals. Every one of the goals, it's always like an impossible one
yeah.
to score, and those are the ones he likes
He
to get
doesn't
done.
like tapping.
Sort of like exactly, sort of like with De Gea, yeah, this annoying thing of like you could just tap in a ball and you'll just do that. You know what I mean? But the goal that you don't expect him to save, fam, you just like
In your mind,
yo,
you think, I've just hit a banger. Then David Daya,
yeah, yeah,
and then the
fam,
one where it's
fam.
just simple. David, catch it, David.
It's like, oh,
Just
dude,
you just do that.
dude, just like
Ah,
it was like, yeah, you do that cat thing. Like, nah, it wasn't challenging enough. You know what I mean? It's like he wants the challenging
yeah,
ones. But yeah, man, Dave was insane. He's insane. I'm actually very sad. I think I'm more sad that he hasn't yet found a club
man,
because
really
I
upsetting.
want to see him play. I don't want this to be the end of his footballing career.
Exactly.
I still want to see more of Dave for the next decade because goalkeepers don't their lifespan in football is way longer than the average
Yeah,
player, and obviously that's because they're not active as much as outfield players. They just stand in the
yeah.
goalpost. So their bodies last tend to be more, you know, um,
In shape, or they're still good.
in
Yeah,
shape. Yeah, it's more
yeah.
durable. It good in shape for years to come because they haven't spent a whole decade,
Getting
just
bashed.
putting it under intense
Yeah.
pressure. Exactly. You check what I mean. So they've got more longevity. That's what I was looking
Mm.
for. Yeah, they've got more longevity in the game than the outfield players. So yeah, man, I'd really love to see the Gea continue to play. But Andre Onana, I don't know if there's anything you would want to say about him.
No, I mean with Andre Onana also, it's like we said, like we are giving him props for what he has done thus far. Like we are happy
Yeah,
for him because it was difficult, and it's not easy.
yeah,
That number one position at United is not for the faint-hearted. It's
yeah,
not for babies. And this is an expression that I like to use. It's not milk. Milk is easy.
yeah,
It's not milk. You know what I mean? So do, it
yeah,
was always going to be difficult. I mean, man, I was worried because the gaffer is going to
yeah,
die by his sword. But I'm happy to see that
yeah.
Onana is really getting, and big ups to the rest of the team. Because he did mention. I read
True.
somewhere he mentioned. Wait, let
Mm,
me even see if I can find it because I I thought it was very nice what he said about his teammates, and
yeah,
I thought, you know what, this 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 is good. This makes sense.
yeah.
I hear you, dog. I hear you. But basically, he was saying
Mm,
like his first time here was difficult, but he never felt like
okay.
he still had a smile on his face. It wasn't one of those situations that,
Yeah,
regardless of um, the battering that we're receiving and what, like he never found himself in a dark place, basically. And that is
yeah,
thanks to
yeah,
the players. He's like, man, they really helped him, and he says he's always been happy.
yeah,
So I'm assuming also the
yeah,
excitement of
yeah,
being at United, because man, this is prestige. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So I think
yeah,
the
yeah.
excitement of him being here, he's like, you know what, and he just got done. He's working. He's
Yeah,
working really. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he's just
yeah, yeah,
he's grinding, and I'm happy with it. What I have already
yeah.
put in my heart is like
Okay.
I know Onana is going to concede goals. I've accepted that.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
David there.
yeah. I, th-
If you don't
I think
accept
once you
that,
accept it, it's easy
easy,
moving forward
yeah,
with yeah,
easy. If you don't,
yeah, yeah.
or
It puts you at
yeah,
ease. Yeah,
if you accept that there's always going to be, like Pickford. Pickford, there's always a mistake in him.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So with
yeah, yeah,
Onana,
yeah, yeah.
just put it in your mind that he
Yeah.
will concede goals, but he will deliver. Because
Exactly.
even right now, and I know
Yes.
Allison
Mm,
is injured, he's been out, but Onana has more clean sheets than Allison.
mm,
Believe it.
yeah.
How?
Wow.
How?
Wow.
Explain. Make
Yeah,
that
yeah,
make
yeah,
sense. Liverpool are above us.
yeah, yeah.
and he just got
and yet
recent.
you
He got
we
injured recently. I mean, not recently, maybe a month
yeah,
or two ago.
yeah, yeah,
How? So
yeah,
it's just positive vibes. I'm happy. I'm happy.
yeah,
Until he
yeah,
pisses me off.
yeah,
And obviously, if he concedes stupid goals, I will come on here and I'll
yeah,
let him have it. I'll be like,
yeah. No, of
uh-uh.
course,
Don't make
yeah.
me speak
Mm.
highly of you just for you to put me back in my place.
And then
You know. So
yeah,
yeah, man, that's all I have
nah,
to
I
say
hear you.
for Nana. So expect
All
that there are
right,
goals that he will concede
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and he will be good.
exactly. And everything will be gravy. Like David, we knew his board distro was pop, so we never expected anything from that. So, with Onana, just expect that goals are gonna be conceded, but his distro
And,
is mint.
dude,
You know what I
last
mean?
season, David De
Mm,
Gea's distribution
yeah,
was it improved.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
think it
yeah,
improved
yeah,
the best
yeah.
thing
It
I've seen
improved. It
in a while.
improved,
But
but yeah,
truly,
it's
truly,
not Onana type distro. It's not Onana type distro. Onana distro is that thing is mafia, man. It's proper, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, that concludes Andre
yeah.
Onana, and as always, final thoughts before we wrap this up.
Ah, Tottenham dropped points yesterday. That is a
Yeah,
big deal. They still have a game in hand because
yeah,
no, we're playing the FA Cup. No, we have got the same games. We're 3 points behind Tottenham
yeah.
right now. I don't know why I thought that they've got a game in hand than us, but they did.
Now the same.
This the
Yeah.
momentum that
So yeah, 28, 28. Yeah,
yeah, we need to keep on building on this
yeah. So we're 6 points behind Spurs. So
6 points
6 points behind Spurs. Yeah, 6 points behind Spurs and
again.
8 points behind Villa.
So if we play our next game, we will be a game in hand to Tottenham, right? Or if Tottenham plays their next game, or what's
Tottenham played 28. Tottenham played 28. We have played 28.
so how many points?
The
They're
only
9 points
yeah.
above us.
So they were no, they were always 6 points above us. I get it. They lost, so they didn't get any
Yeah,
points. So nothing has changed for them.
yeah.
So they're always 6 points ahead of us. Our flop was Fulham because we lost
Ah,
to
yeah, yeah,
Fulham,
yeah,
then
yeah.
lost to
Okay,
City.
yes, yes.
Where our flop was.
Okay, so back to
Yeah,
my final thoughts. I still believe in
yeah,
top four. I mean, I
yeah,
was leaning towards like fifth position. I'm like, hey, the coefficient for Champions League, what? But I don't know.
yeah,
I think this last stretch, this is it.
yeah,
If we don't
yeah,
make
yeah,
it,
yeah,
cool. I
yeah,
will accept it. I will take it on the chin. But I don't know. Something in my
yeah,
heart, in my mind, is
yeah,
telling me that top four is within our reach. Top four is
yeah,
top four is ours to lose. Truly. When you
yeah,
compare the games, like I think we've played most of the top six already.
yeah,
I think we still have to play
mm,
Liverpool, Arsenal,
yeah,
Tottenham were done, Man City were done.
mm.
Who else? Just Arsenal.
Arsenal is left. I
Arsenal
think
at home,
we still have
right?
Chelsea. Or am I
Oh, and
mistaken?
Chelsea, and Chelsea.
Arsenal, we should be
I'm not
home.
thinking
Yeah,
about Chelsea. I'm talking about the people above us.
yeah,
Chelsea is there, fucking down there. Those guys
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I still believe like we're going because all those teams that beat us in that other half, if we can just make a draw,
yeah,
wins, we are good. And I believe that that's what we're going to do.
yeah,
I don't think Liverpool is going to beat us at home
yeah,
in the return fixture.
yeah,
I don't think Chelsea is going to
yeah.
beat us. I don't think Arsenal.
Mm.
The Arsenal game, I'm feeling a draw. I don't know why. And I know it's far from now, but I'm
Yeah,
feeling a draw in that game.
yeah,
And then,
yeah. I know. Arsenal, there's always confidence against Arsenal. I
yeah.
don't know why. It's
So,
just one
and
of those
then
things that yeah,
these other small teams, we just need to make sure we dismantle. I don't think there's any other team in the bottom half of the table that is going to give us headache. Which is, I mean, Luton.
yeah.
Are we done with Luton? I think Sheffield United. We struggled, which
I'm
is
not sure.
strange.
I'm not.
We need to go and smash them.
Yeah,
And yeah, I
yeah,
I really really am
yeah,
confident about top four. I really am. And with the players
Yeah.
coming back
Yeah.
from injury, oh,
Yeah.
it's just giving me an even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
My only concern is this returns, because this season
Yeah.
we've been excited of players returning. Licha was the biggest blow for us because we're excited. It was one of the, hey, and then
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that. If we are going to
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
players coming back and we're fit, we are getting top four. Believe it. If we don't get any
All right.
injuries from now
All
up
right.
until the end of the season, we're making top four.
Yeah. All right.
One time.
No, I get you. I get you. No, man. Thanks for your final thoughts. I think likewise for me, just to conclude everything that we spoke about today. Mason Mount, looking forward to having him back, and all the other players returning back from
Yeah.
injury. Bruno Fernandes, pay more attention, to what's going on, and don't just believe all the hype from the media. These guys are on their own agenda. So I think right now is the best fitting captain at United. Andre Onana, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Salute, man.
And looking forward to today's match. We're definitely gonna have a reaction for you guys tomorrow, and then have it online as quickly as possible. But yeah, we have to react to that one. That one we can't wait for Ketchup episode 6.
Yeah.
That one we need like a quick reaction on that one.
Gee,
But yeah,
I
man.
want us to do something
Yeah.
for our people. Like once they watch
All
the
right.
game would have already finished. So when they watch the
Yeah.
time when they're going to watch this, they're gonna be like, okay, these guys gave their predictions. Do you have a prediction?
Yeah. Yeah.
Liverpool.
Uh. Woo! And this prediction is gonna be so fucking easy if we had Rasmus in this team. Because now I'm thinking goals. What the fuck is the score gonna be? Look, man. Honestly, honestly, I hate myself right now because I wish you never asked me this question. Right now, when you're asking me, I'm tapping into my logic.
Go.
I'm not tapping into my heart's
Okay.
results. My heart is saying we're gonna win 3-2. My logic is telling me we're gonna lose 3-1.
My heart is telling me we're going to win 2-1. And my logic is telling me that we'll win 1-0.
Ben, I wanted to say that, but then I'm like, Liverpool not scoring. It's a lie.
I know. That's the
That's why I
thing.
couldn't.
It's a lie.
I couldn't go with the nil.
My,
It's a
my
lie.
logic is telling me that. My logic
Yeah.
is telling me that we're
Fair
going to
enough.
frustrate these guys.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
So
We'll watch the match. We'll come back.
yeah, we'll come back and discuss our mad predictions.
Looking forward. Yeah, looking forward to this. Looking forward to
Yeah,
this.
man.
But yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Catch Up, and yeah, we'll catch y'all guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.